Are you pumping a ton into lead gen ads and wondering whether you can get them in cheaper, but you're worried you might bring in a bunch of garbage leads by accident? Let me show you a couple of tactics I use to bring down the cost per lead that have gotten me results like this using these 5 changes. So one thing you can do is try to use lead forms rather than landing pages. I know everybody hates lead forms because they think that they bring in trash leads only, but it doesn't have to be like that. You can use rich lead forms to basically replicate a lot of what you can do on a landing page. So you can add testimonials, you can add more information about the contents of it, you can add dot points, you can even add an incentive on a rich lead form, and that helps you replicate the landing page experience. Usually the cost per lead on these things is way cheaper because the conversion happens on Facebook itself rather than sending them off Facebook, and you lose a lot of that data tracking, which helps Facebook optimize for leads. Next, if you're using manual settings on your audiences, test switching them to Advantage Plus. Again, maybe controversial opinion here, but I think Advantage Plus can actually do really well in lead gen if you're getting qualified leads out of the back end. The way Advantage Plus works is it will go beyond the targeting settings that you've put in already to find those easier to convert. This works really well sometimes because it can pick up on all those really small targeting parameters that you wouldn't be able to put in anyway. Remember how they got rid of all the manual tracking settings? Way back, you used to be able to target by income, all that kind of stuff. It's probably still in there, but you can't access it. But if you use Advantage Plus, I have a feeling you can. The problem with this is if you're not sending lead quality feedback back to Meta, it's just going to get cheaper and cheaper leads, even if they're crap. So make sure you're using the lead center to filter out who's good and who's bad if you're using lead forms, or use the conversions API to connect to your CRM to signal who converts and who's qualified. So if you use the conversions API, make sure you set the conversion event on the ad set level settings so it knows to collect more people like that. The third thing is to reconsider your target. Let's take gyms as an example. You may be thinking in your area, hey, it's the young, fit people who are really interested in gyms that are going to be the right target. So you optimize all your creative settings and targeting for that audience. But it could be that there are actually a lot of older people in your area that are really great quality leads that are not getting targeted at all. So the competition is lower and your cost per lead is lower. This is just an example. It's not always like that. But the point is to think about the competition level of each market and whether you're tapping into a really competitive one or a less competitive one. Next is everybody's favorite, offer iteration. It's really true that the offer makes a huge difference to your cost per lead. If you have something more enticing, you can bring the cost per lead down. But likewise, if you have something that's really stale, it's also going to bring the cost per lead up. So just refreshing it for your season can really help. For example, I find that the cost per lead can even go down just by putting the word summer when it's summer or putting the word winter when it's winter. Doesn't seem like it could make a big difference, but in the minds of people who read the ad, it does. The last strategy is to consider using 2 steps in the conversion. This is kind of an outdated technique in commerce where you would optimize for add to cart rather than the full checkout, but it still works for lead generation. So what I mean is, say you're trying to book a call, rather than optimizing for calls booked, optimize for people filling out the page that comes before seeing the calendar. Often I find the cost per booked call in the end can actually go down because you're getting way more data from the people who are filling out the form wanting to book a call versus people who just go ahead and book a call. The book a call objective is really expensive, whereas the pre-fill question is way cheaper. That's it. Those are the strategies. If you want more ideas, I have a cheat sheet linked down in the caption.